We have all been there, a sudden desire for something that we hadn't planned on buying, and before we know it, the item is in our shopping cart. Why did it happen so quickly? I think we are all familiar with this type of purchase, also known as an impulse buy. Today, I will explore the psychology behind impulse buying and provide strategies to stop this unwanted behavior and take back control over our finances and lives. Now, what is an impulse buy exactly? Simply put, friends, it's an unplanned purchase, usually made in response to a very strong and very emotional trigger. The trigger could be a positive or negative emotion. But friends, this type of buying behavior often results in regret afterwards, since most of the time it is a want, not a need, and will not benefit us or our wallets in the long run. The money going towards that impulse purchase is not part of a planned budget, and therefore increases overall expenses each month. Yikes. I want you to imagine though right now what it would be like to have full control over your spending. And yes, that means including things that you love in the budget. But when and how much you buy is in your total control. Let's talk a little bit now about why. Why do we keep impulse buying? There are several reasons why people engage in impulse buying, even though in their hearts they don't feel good about it and want to stop. For some, it may be a way to cope with negative emotions such as sadness or anxiety. Buying something new triggers the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that helps to create feelings of pleasure and satisfaction. We may also impulse buy as a way to celebrate or reward ourselves and use shopping as a way to cope with boredom or relieve stress. Now, others may do it for the thrill of making a spontaneous purchase. Being impulsive can be exciting and people feel more alive. And still, others may feel the need to keep up with their friends or peers who are constantly buying new things. Often referred to as keeping up with the Joneses, this type of social pressure can cause people to spend money they may not have. Marketers address this tactic as social proof. Scarcity is another reason people impulse buy. The feeling of scarcity is that you need to buy something new because it may not be available later. But this type of thinking often leads to regretful purchases, as people may buy something they don't really want or need just because they're afraid it will be gone. And finally, y'all, a lack of delayed gratification can also lead to impulse buying. This is when people have difficulty waiting to get what they want and instead give in to the temptation of buying something immediately. And one more question I want to answer. Why is impulse spending so bad? If we're not careful, we can easily spend more money than we have, which can lead to more debt. And as we know, consumer debt can easily snowball into a much larger problem. Before we know it, we're in over our heads. Additionally, impulse buying can be a form of compulsive spending, an unhealthy coping mechanism that can lead to financial problems. And another reason is that it can be very addictive. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Okay, everyone, let's jump into the juicy details on how to stop impulse buying for good. Now, you may be admitting to yourself that you do occasionally impulse buy. First off, be proud of yourself for being honest and willing to change. Many marketers out there in our world know how to take advantage of our human nature to get us to spend more money. They will use these sneaky techniques like scarcity, social proof, and dopamine triggers to get us to impulse buy. You can be better equipped to resist sales tactics by simply being aware of them. Now, here are a few additional tips to help you stop impulse buying and live a more financially free life. Let's start with number 1. Identify and remember your triggers. Please pay attention to those emotions, situations, or people that lead you to make an impulse purchase. By doing so, you become much more aware of when you are most likely to spend money impulsively. I want to ask you the following questions to help you with this journey. Are you someone that needs social validation? Does scarcity cause you to have fear about missing out? Do you tend to make impulse purchases when you're bored or feeling down? Once you have identified your own personal triggers, which may be completely different from the person next to you, you can become more mindful of them, more self-aware, and take steps to avoid them. Tip number 2 is to get ahead of that temptation. If you know you'll be in a situation where you may be tempted to spend money, plan ahead. Bringing along a set amount of cash or leaving the credit card at home are both great options. It's true that credit cards are frequently used for impulse buying because they do not cause the same pain receptors that go off as paying with cash. And think about it, you're not physically seeing the money leave your hands when you use that credit card. So unless we have amazing self-control, let's let go go of the ego and stick to cash until things get better. Number 4, budget for things that matter most. Having a budget will help you become more aware of your spending and make it easier for you to stick to your financial goals. And please remember, it is okay and great to enjoy yourself and have an expense category for that. But also make sure that you buy things that add lasting value to your life. On to number 4, prepare a list before you go shopping. This will help you stay focused on your purchases and avoid buying things that you don't truly need. Stick to the list. Your future self will certainly thank you. Number 5, avoid sales and discounts for wants. Now, sales and discounts for needs or essentials are great, but remember this one thing. Let's say you buy something fun that you don't need that costs $100, but it's 50% off. You're not truly saving $50 because you're still spending money on something that is non-essential. Number 6, take a break from time to time. Sometimes, really friends, all we need to do is cool down a minute before making a decision. There are 24, 48, or even 72-hour cool down rules. But even just waiting 10 minutes to give yourself some time to calm down is wonderful. It's a great start. And number 7, avoid shopping when you're feeling distressed. If you're feeling sad, angry, or stressed, please avoid shopping. These emotions can lead to irrational impulse spending. And remember that advertisers are well aware that we have busy lives and are sometimes very stressed or tired. So they will play into those emotions, unfortunately, to have us impulse buy. And number 8, avoid shopping when tired as well. Now, there's a reason why infomercials often air late at night. When we are tired or worn out, we are more likely to make poor decisions. So shopping when you are exhausted truly can be a recipe for disaster. Be careful. And number 9 is to talk with someone and set goals together. If you find yourself still struggling with impulse buying, contact a family member or friend for support. It does wonders. You can have this open and honest dialogue with them and ask them what they think about the purchase. It can be beneficial to ask them to play devil's advocate and argue with you why you should not make the purchase. So yeah, talking to someone can help you gain perspective and make a more informed decision. With a little bit of effort and self-control, you can get on track with your financial goals and experience more freedom and happiness. And remember that making impulse purchases that we regret is something that we have all done at one point or another. Whether it's buying that new dress that you saw in a store window or picking up a new gadget that we haven't had, we've all been there before. Now, I want to wish you truly all the best with fighting impulse purchasing in the future. Remember to find healthy alternatives to things that you want or you feel like are an impulse buy. That way you're not putting too many restrictions on yourself and you're replacing it with positive behavior instead. If you loved today's video or found it helpful, please leave a like and subscribe for more content to come. I will catch you next time, y'all. Bye-bye.